All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm gonna start by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father, the Most High, our Creator and our Power, who the world ignorantly calls God. His name is Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, our Lord, our Savior, and our Deliverer, the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls JC. His name is Yahweh Shai. Layamla, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rechakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Salutations, peace, blessings, and safety be unto the hopeful elect out there. And this lesson will be entitled, How Long Ye Simple Ones? Okay, which is the question that was asked. And matter of fact, I'll grab it. Proverbs 1 and verse 22. Matter of fact, hey, Proverbs 1, you can really read the whole thing, but I'm going to just try to get to the point because I am on a time limit. Got to get to camp soon. But I'll start at verse 20. It says, Proverbs 1 and 20. Wisdom crieth without. She uttereth her voice in the streets. All right, and it's not a metaphor, man. Okay, that's referring to the prophets who Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has given the Holy Spirit, the understanding, the knowledge, the wisdom of the scriptures to give the warning to our people. All right, beginning with the apostles on down, man, who's been doing this thing for decades. All right, giving that warning, you know, and being that broken record that everybody hates so much. You know, our people, are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans? Okay, they we've been being that broken record for the longest, and will continue to be that broken record until the things that we speaking on come to pass. But Jake, they despise this message and this the prophecies that we speak. They hate it so much, but when these things begin to come to pass, don't nobody have nothing to say. Okay, everybody be on hush mode, and all of that talking and scoffing and laughing and playing and all that comes to an end, man. But then things, it dies down, and the so-called normal, it comes back, and Jake get right back to the bullshit. They start talking shit again, and they get back to the folly and the distractions that they cleave to so much. Okay, but wisdom is crying without, meaning the prophets are out. Okay, hey, whenever the prophets was out on the scene, that was a sign in itself that shit about to get real. This normal life that we know, it's about to change drastically very soon. When you see prophets um present, that's not necessarily a sign of good things to come, man. Okay, as the scriptures tell you that the prophets that prophesied before us of old, they prophesied of famines and wars and pestilence. Okay, things that didn't bring good news, man. But at the same time, the prophets, even though the message they came with was not a good positive message that as our people love to hear, man. But it's a sign of mercy as well. Even though it's not a good message that we come with, it's a sign of mercy nonetheless, because the Lord don't have to give us a warning. He don't have to give us a heads up for the calamities He's going to bring on the earth, but He do. He set up the prophets, all right. Before those things spring forth, the Lord tells us of those things to come. And if you're wise, you would take heed to those things. You would follow the prophets. You would hearken unto what the words, the words that's coming out of their mouths, right? Because the scriptures tell you that the prudent man meaning the wise man, foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. But the simple pass on and are punished. Meaning what? The simple ones, they're going to disregard the message. They're not going to take the message that the prophets come with. They're not going to take it to heart. They're not going to take it seriously. So therefore, the things that they were being warned of, they're going to get caught up in them. Just like, we had these recent events. Everybody knows what took place a couple of days ago, man. Early Saturday morning. Um, we know there was a joint attack from U.S. and Israel against Iran. All right, Jake don't understand what that means, even though it's not going to be full scale, third world war just yet. But those are steps leading to world war, because these are things that are happening that are irreversible. You know, you can't. You're not just gonna go back to normal, and people just going. They're not just gonna brush it off and just go back to normal, and or there's gonna be a new peace treaty, and everybody's gonna go back to living their normal lives. No, man. There's people dying. Okay, there's mass casualties. All right. If you don't know, one of the things that happened was there was a fucking a school. I believe it was an all girls school at that was hit out there in Iran. What does that mean? Hey, some of these people they don't just just think about if that was to happen in America, how people would take that. All right, that's not something light, man. And these things that's happening, even though it's not gonna be all out war just yet, these things are not happening for no reason. All right, they're gonna lead to more tension, more rumors of wars until the Lord put the spirit on these nations to say, all right, now is the time. No more holding back, because hey, if it was up to people, if it was up to humans, right? Because we know man's goings are not, of not, are, excuse me, man's goings are of the Lord, and a man's steps, a man walketh not to direct his own steps. So if it was up to man, it would have been World War, you know, time, shit, you can even say decades ago, right? But the Lord, He put the spirit on these other nations to build up their military, and to get to the point to where when it's time to attack, they're going to be able to, you know, implement maximum damage, man. Right? But I'm saying all of this to say, when you actually pay attention to, yeah, when you actually pay attention to what's going on, like I just quoted, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. You're not gonna be just moving around freely as if nothing is going on, man. But that's the average American. All right, docile as hell, don't know what the fuck is going on, ain't paying attention, don't really care. Even though it's this news is all over the place. You have, not only mainstream news, but you have alternative news. You have people on social media who keep up with the news, and they speak on it. So it's no excuse to not know what's going on and actually see this stuff on a daily basis being spoken on, reported on. But Jake, they don't take that to heart and use it as a means to figure out how they're gonna move. They want to do what they want to do, how they want to do it. You had a video. All right, but matter of fact, before I mention that, I'm gonna mention that last night there was a mass shooting in Austin, Texas, outside of a bar. So far, 14 people have been injured, 3 have been killed. That's what has been confirmed. Possibly more, because there's other people that are in critical condition right now, and we don't know if they're gonna survive or not. But it happened. Okay, 13 people. I mean, excuse me, 14 people injured, 3 people killed. The dude who allegedly did it, right? The suspect was some big. I don't even know. I have yet to get that information, but he looked like a so-called black man. He could be a Hamite, or he could even be no. I don't think he's an Ishmaelite. He don't look like one. But big black, dark skinned dude. He could possibly be a Hamite, but he could possibly be Jake. We don't know yet. I guess these bees smell my sweet scent or something, because they keep on bothering me. But it is what it is. But there was a picture. So when they actually showed this guy's face, they had another picture next to his face with him standing with an assault rifle and a shirt that said "Property of Allah." This is, looking very familiar, man. You know, when these different wars break out, we understand Esau's MO is to create an antagonist, okay, to create a bad guy, a boogeyman, somebody who they can use as a ploy to fulfill their true agenda, somebody who they can use as a front man to get everybody to hate, to get everybody to look at in a negative light, so that when they bust a move and they do what they want to do, which is violence, they're not going to be looked at it in a bad light. They're going to be looked at as heroes. They're going to be looked at as the savior, because these are bad guys we're bombing. These are bad guys we're taking out. So nobody's going to look at us like the attacker. Nobody's going to look at us as the antagonist. They're the antagonists. We're the ones who are getting justice against the antagonist. All right. So not only do you have this situation with this T attack, the FBI, the DEA, the what's that shit the Department of Homeland Security, they've been saying for the past couple of years, especially in the last year, be on the lookout. There's high risk of domestic T attacks. There's high risk of homebred threats that are going to be taking place, or that can possibly be taking place in the near future. Be on the lookout. They just been pushing that, when, as we know it to be predictive programming. All right. On top of that, all of these things going on overseas, the tensions growing, the wars getting getting closer to war, the tensions and the hatred between these countries is growing. And the recent activities that Trump has led, right, with the Venezuela, and him having talks of seizing other countries, doing the same thing. Hey, this is all leading up to that fire being kindled. Well, that is part of the fire being kindled, but it's gonna be all out fire real soon, man. All right, but in the midst of that, you got all of this different entertainment, being pumped out. You got basketball, football, baseball. It's just constant, nonstop distraction. And I'm saying all of this to say Jake has to learn to separate themselves from the distractions and pay attention to what's going on. As it says in 2 Ezra 9, we're supposed to measure the times diligently in itself. Because when we see part of the signs pass, we know that the end is near. And it is the very same time that the Most High will begin to visit the world which He made. And He's been visiting. But Jake, they submerge themselves in distraction and folly, things that have no meaning, no purpose. Okay, so when you see these things going on, okay, first and foremost, if you're going to be traveling, this is not the time to be traveling as it is. But if you decide to travel anyway, at least do some research on where you're traveling and what countries are at risk of war, what countries could possibly be under attack. What are the so-called safe places to go if you're going to travel, whether it be for entertainment purposes and you want to go have fun and enjoy yourself, or you're doing business traveling, whatever. Do your research on where you're going. There was a video of two Jakes. I'm sure there's more. This particular video was two Jakes. One was a female, one was a dude. The female, she up there smiling, she recording. We're in the parking garage right now. There was multiple emergencies reported. It's pretty much like a state of emergency. The equivalent of a state of emergency, which is the government putting all of their citizens on notice, man. Like, hey, prepare. Shit might pop off. We're under threat of attack. So get yourselves ready, man. Shelter. That's pretty much what those, because they're in Dubai. Okay. And recently Dubai was attacked. Saudi Arabia was attacked. All right. So these people, these Jakes, they out there on vacation and shit, trying to have fun. And this chick, she saying, oh, yeah, we're currently in the parking garage. I don't know what's going on, and she was just giving an update as to what's going on, but she was taking it lightly. She had a smile on her face. She's like, yeah, so thanks for listening. She's smiling. It's kind of amusing because there's no real threat of danger to her in that very moment. Even though she said she heard the explosion, she heard the missiles hit. That wasn't enough. All right, the dude, he was up there. He was saying, this is I ain't scared or nothing. I'm not nervous or nothing, but it is an eye opener. It is an eye opener. Um, you can even smell the burning of the debris, and this is pretty much what's going on right now. And yeah, I got faith in God, but he said I got faith in God, and there's no telling when we're gonna be able to get back to the States, but I believe we are gonna get back to the States. He's real confident, but hey, that confidence is gonna be taken from these people, man, because these people don't really understand the extent of what's going on. Let me get this. Before I get that, I'm gonna finish off in Proverbs. All right, back in Proverbs 1 and verse 21. She cried in the chief place of concourse, in the opening of the gates. In the city she uttered her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. And this is a direct message, a question being posed to our people, man. Our people is the simple ones, all right? Our people is the ones that love to wait to the last minute to prepare themselves. That don't take anything serious. That's always playing, always laughing. If they're not playing and laughing, they talking shit and speaking down on important information that's being presented to them. How much, what more important information or message is it than this? But Jake, they still playing. They still, they're gonna be doing what they've been doing. The scriptures tell you that so just like in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. All right, prior to the Lord returning, which is gonna be the second death. Just like during the first death, which was the flood, nobody took the warning, the prophecy of Noah, because while Noah was building, he was prophesying. Which prophesy means to say before. He was telling them what was going to happen before it happened, as the Lord put the Spirit on him to do so. The same way those who are set up today in the stead of prophets, doing the same thing Noah was doing, giving the warning, telling our people what was going to happen before it happened. They was marrying, giving in marriage, eating, drinking, just giving to distractions and entertainment and pleasure, so on and so forth, man. Things that please their flesh, with no regard for the future, right? So those things came upon them, or that flood came upon them when they least expected it, and unawares. The same is going to happen in this time. These calamities is going to come upon Jake when they least expect it. Not that they didn't get the warning that these things was coming, but because they didn't take the warning. They didn't believe it. You have people who don't believe that there's going to be any major tragedies happening in the earth. They believe that this shit is going to pass. Everything that we see going on, which is unprecedented, by the way, has never been like this. They think these things is going to pass eventually, and it's going to get back to normal. Everybody's going to come to an agreement, and we're going to get back to living life. I'm going to be able to retire and enjoy my 401k, kids to college, and this and that. But listen, we don't have time like that. We are in the last day. We're the last of the last days. And there's a few prophecies left to be fulfilled, man. And they're gonna come upon Jake in the with their pants down in the most vulnerable state. Just like when Jake was over there in Dubai, and the missiles start flying and crashing down around them. Guess what? The reason you were able to have a smile on your face is because it was off in the distance. But the calamities is gonna get closer and closer and closer and more violent, more more strong, to where you're not gonna be able to escape it. You're not gonna be able to. You ain't gonna have no smile on your face. You ain't gonna be getting on social media giving no updates. It's not gonna be this light of a situation as you think it is. All right. But these are warnings. You can call these scourges, man. These are things happening that the Lord is still reaching out His hand to get your attention. But Jake on vacation though, right? Jake trying to enjoy themselves, kick their feet up, bullshit, kick it in bullshit, man. Let me get this. Spark 5 and 7. All right. Spark 5 and 7 says, "Make no tarrying," which is to procrastinate or to delay. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. Yeah, you got a lot of people that whether they say it literally, with their own mouth, whether they come across brothers and tell them, "Hey, y'all gonna be right here next week. All right, I'll come back next week," or "Y'all got a card," or they may not never come across a brother, but they may see brothers on the internet, on social media, on YouTube, and they might save the video till they watch later, never come back and watch it, or they may tell themselves, "Oh, you know what? Oh, I know where them brothers at in my city. I'm gonna go stop by one of these days," but don't actually pull the trigger. Don't actually make any moves to link up and fellowship with brothers, to go out there and inquire, because we know you got questions. We know it's things going on that you don't understand. So Jake is not taking the initiative. All right. So therefore, as we get closer, because time ain't waiting for nobody. Right? These things are going to happen. It may seem like it's dragging, like the scriptures tell you, though it tarry, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not tarry. It may seem like it's dragging. It may seem like it's taking forever. But again, these things that's happening is not happening for no reason. They're all leading up to the bigger picture. Before you know it, the MOTB is going to be implemented. And then what? That's very close. It's already there. It's already a thing. Many people have it. But it has yet to be made mandatory to the point to where you're going to be faced with a decision. That ain't came yet. But you see that it's there. That's not enough for Jake. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. In your security, meaning when you think everything's sweet, man. You think it's all gravy, and you just got your a new job, or you just bought your house. You just got a lump sum of some money. You just came into some money. You about to go on vacation. You think shit's sweet, but you gonna see real soon that it's actually the opposite of sweet. It's very bitter. This reality that we have, man. And you're gonna see that, hey, damn, it's a reason why those men was trying to get my attention, and why they were so consistent. Jake gonna realize it, man. Of course, when it's too late, as they always do, but they will. Now, let me finish this off. Matthew 16. I'm gonna start at the top. It says, "The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, and desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven." Right, talking about Yahushua. Right. Jake always loved to see a sign. They always love for you to try to prove it. They always want you to prove it. They don't believe nothing. They'll prove it. Jake always like to see it, feel it. Because they're carnal. They don't have a spiritual mind. They don't operate in the spirit. So everything has to be tangible. It has to be in the physical for them to believe it. When we tell Jake about the kingdom to come, they're unable to fathom or to adopt that kingdom mindset, because they're too involved in the flesh. They're in bondage to the flesh, so they can't see spiritual things. So that's why they don't take the spiritual message that we have serious. That's why they don't respect us, because we don't have the so-called fruit that they look for. We don't have the nice, expensive car, the top of the line suits. We don't have those things. So why should they take us serious? Right? It's not us you're rejecting. It's the Lord you're rejecting. answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red, and in the morning it will be foul weather today. The sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but ye cannot. But can ye not discern the signs of the times? Right? Jay can tell when it's about to be a nice warm day, right? Because usually when the sky is red at night, it's a sign that it's going to be a nice warm day the next day. You know, and usually when it's a red sky in the morning, it's a sign that there's going to be a storm on the way. There's an old saying that I heard years ago when I was in like elementary school. I remember it to this day. It says, "Red skies at night, sailors delight. Red skies in the morning, sailors take delight." Because those who operate on the sea, in the ocean, they have to pay attention to the signs in the heavens. You know, more so the sailors that didn't have meteorologists and weather predictions and stuff like that. I'm talking about those who actually took the signs from what they see around them, the behavior of the animals, the direction of the wind, and things like that. But again, as I said, red skies at night, sailors delight, because it was a sign that it was going to be a nice, warm, calm day the next day. But if it was red skies in the morning, the sailors took warning and they got to shore, or they got off of the water, because it was a storm on the way and it was going to be boisterous water. But like I said, you're hypocrites, because you can tell when it's going to be a nice day. Jake can smell the rain and tell you it's going to rain. But when you see these countries going at it, fighting and threatening each other, you still decide to go out to a fucking club just so you can have fun. You ain't taking heed to these threats. You ain't taking them serious, because it's unprecedented in America. America's not used to that type of stuff. Bombings and missiles flying and crashing into buildings and shit like that. You're not used to that on a mass scale as these other third world countries are. So you don't take those type of things serious. So you like, you know what? This is America. We safe, right? This is the city that dwelleth carelessly, man. Jake out there partying at the club, at the bar, getting drunk, in folly, trying to get some pussy. Hoes out there trying to get piped down. Everybody just out there to have fun and bullshit. And then a nigga roll up with an assault rifle and get the firing on the crowd, and everybody confused, like, what's going on? You shouldn't have been your ass out there, man. These are sensitive times, and this is not the time to be out there in big crowds. Fucking, you're vulnerable. You blind. You drunk, literally and spiritually. That's why I said, in your security, you're gonna be destroyed, man. Because Jake, they're too secure, man. Especially when you consider the extent of what's going on. We barely in March. This is March 1st, man. We barely in March, and this shit been popping this year already. Last year was a hot year. This year already, it's man, much more active. Much more active. Only the beginning of March. This is literally March 1st. And all this shit is going on. But Jake making plans for summer. Nigga, you don't know if you're gonna be around in summer. You don't know what the hell gonna happen in this country. Iran just shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Do Jake ask Jake what that is or what that's about? They don't fucking know. They don't know how that's gonna affect us. Oh, that's all the way over there on the other side of the world. It ain't got nothing to do with us. Well, it has everything to do with you, because that is a route that brings in what 30% of 30 to 40% of the world's necessities. So if that gets shut down, everything that we have, from gas to the food to all of the things that are imported, that's gonna spike. It's gonna be super hyperinflation, and it ain't gonna take long at all. Your gas gonna be triple of what it costs. Food gonna be through the roof. You got people going through it, and they stressing, and they losing their damn minds already with the prices. How much more you think they gonna lose their mind if that really affects this place, man. But Jake don't understand. Ecclesiastes 9 and 12. For man also knoweth not his time, and the fishes that are taken in an evil, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time when it falleth suddenly upon him. Right? Because they don't pay attention to the evil times, man. They don't even acknowledge that it's evil times. Let Jake tell it. Hey, everything is, all things continue as they were since the fathers fell asleep. Man, we living life. Jake trying to live their best life. That's all they care about. Why do you think they be so surprised when these things happen? Because they're not looking for these things. They're looking for pleasure and comfort. So when anything other than comes, oh, it's just it shocks their world. All right, I gotta continue this. I gotta finish. All right, I'm gonna get straight to the point. First Thessalonians 5. I'm gonna get straight to the point. 5 and 3. I gotta go. It says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Okay, this is what's coming, man. All right, and we don't know how this gonna play out. It might die down. It might subside a little bit, but every time it do, guess what? When it do pop off again, it pop off even hotter. So it might die down a little bit, or it might stay stagnant at one level of tension. But then guess what? The Lord gonna blow upon that fire, man, and increase the intensity of what's going on in the world, man. This shit is not gonna go back whatsoever. It's not gonna go back to normal. It's not gonna be any peace. As long as the wicked is in rulership, there's not gonna be no peace. So Jay gotta pay attention, man. All right, or not. Well, Lord willing, I pray this lesson was edifying. That will give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Citations, peace, blessings, and safety to the awful elect. DTA, Bible, Lord. We're going to share. Until next time. Shalom.